Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets, interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I'm your host, Kim Wanup. How you doing, summertime? How are you? You know what's nice? Traffic in the summertime in Los Angeles because kids aren't in school. It's a little lighter. Traffic is good. I'm just chugging along in my prep world of For All Mankind Season 4. And I gotta say, we got a really big blow to the set decorating world in Los Angeles this week because a store that I have referenced many times, Wertz Brothers, is going to be going out of business, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I purchased from them on every show I am on for the past 15 years. They are my go-to resource, as I am sure they are for a lot of people, for purchasing furniture in LA. And it like, I teared up. Like, my buyers and I, we were like in tears. We cannot believe that Wertz Brothers is gonna be gone. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm speechless about it. I don't really know. I don't know if we need a support group or I don't know what's going on, but I just don't know what we're going to do without that. It's kind of like with the thought of Omega going down, the rental house. I don't know. Someone is going to step up. But if you have a chance to hit Wertz Brothers before it's gone, it's in, I think it's Brentwood, actually. Brentwood or just West LA on Santa Monica Boulevard. A huge store. I don't know how many square feet they have, but you know, they resell basically furniture they get at estate sales or, you know, individual sales, and it's always been fantastic. I can't even count how many pieces in my own home I have from that store. So huge loss there. And I know everybody's really bummed about it. And it's really like a death in our industry, I gotta say, at least for me. But yeah, Emmy nominations are this week. In fact, they will be today. I'm obviously not talking to you live. So, so we'll talk about that on a next episode, and hoping to have some nominees to talk to and share their experiences with you. I am watching, what's one I'm watching? Oof. Do I talk about Ultimate Girls Trip for Housewives? I don't think you want to hear about that, but it's really good. Only Murders in the Building, Season 2 on Hulu. It's awesome. It's awesome because I laugh out loud at least once of Martin Short. I just think his character is really good. And I really love that building that they have designed. Production designer Kurt Beach and set decorator Rich Murray. And I noticed, here's a sidebar, all of a sudden I'm getting People magazine. I think because Entertainment Weekly isn't being published anymore, they're giving me the rest of my money in People magazine, which is not comparable at all. I don't know. But there is a write-up, I think it was this week's episode about Only Murders in the Building, about their set design, and they talk with the production designer, Kurt Beach. One page little write-up doesn't really do it justice, but I love those sets. Very New York and like theatrical, and I don't know. I really enjoy that show. But big news here, I got a really good show for you. Now, you know you're into serial killers just like I am, right? And you know that void that Mindhunter left? Yeah. Well, new show on Apple, Blackbird. It's really good. It's really good. They released 3 episodes. There's only 6 episodes. I watched 2. and I wanted to watch the third, but I'm pacing myself because then it's going to be over and I don't know what to do. It's based on a true story about a prisoner who is told to lighten his sentence, has to get a confession out of another prisoner. So it's pretty good. The production designer is Charisse Cardenas and set decorator Monica Manserte. I hope that's right. But yeah, it's really good. It's dark. I like it. And Greg Kinnear's in it. I looked him up. He's going to be 60 this year. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that hair, but he's holding up pretty well, I think. Yeah. As I said, Emmy nominations, and I am never sure if anyone can just look at Emmy magazine online or if you have to be a member, but this past month's magazine, I don't know if it's a double, triple episode or something, it is outstanding. It is issue number 6. That's all I know. Dark Winds is on the bind, but they have interviews with like everyone. They have interviews with customers and production designers and editors and just a really great array of everyone behind the camera. I don't know. I just really enjoy that magazine. I think it does a pretty good job at talking to everyone who's making all these great projects come to the screen. So I don't know if you can check that out. I don't know. Maybe you could just get the magazine. I don't know. Or pay for that. I know members get it. So if you're not looking it up, it's a great resource. I know they send it but it's awesome. There was a point made to me the other day that there is a lot of lingo when I talk to people. I wanted to at least get out one sort of definition, maybe per episode now or here and there when it comes up, because I know in this interview we talk about block shooting, and I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is, but block shooting is when you are shooting 2, maybe more episodes at the same time, and usually that would be the same director, so that if you're shooting episode 1 and 2, instead of 7 days of shooting, it's 14 days of shooting, and you're intertwining scenes. Like in one day, you could be shooting some scenes from episode 1 and 2. It's not just all episode 1 one day and all episode 2 another. You might start to pick up on this in shows when you see the same location in 2 episodes. That's one kind of giveaway. But this gives the opportunity, I think, of the show to utilize location work in more than one episode. It gives the director 2 episodes to, get into mindset of whatever project they're jumping onto and coming in and working with actors. I believe you get a longer prep and shoot and whatnot. So, and for us, I kind of like it because you are then getting hopefully, you're getting 2 scripts at a time. And you're working that way. A lot of impeachment was like that, where we would get 2 scripts at a time for the next director. So it's helpful in long-term prep, I would say. It doesn't matter, things could change last minute still. That still happens. But, it's supposed to give you more prep time. So yes, block shooting. That's what that means. And I know that I've brought it up before, and I just want to make sure because I do reference it in this interview. And in this interview, I speak with production designer Eric Schoonover. Eric took over this season of HBO's Barry for its 3rd season, and having been the art director for the first 2 seasons, also nominated for season 1 work of the show, he talks about taking over for this season and the turn that the storytelling took. And how the design of the show took on a new Barry? I don't know. He previously had production designed seasons of Portlandia. He came out of doing non-union work and worked many jobs in the art department and set deck, so he definitely worked his way up. And you can check out his work on schoonovercreative.com and Eric Schoonover on IG. I have this information on my website and in the email that you got announcing this episode. So I hope you enjoy.
Without all the questions.
So are you prepping season 4?
Yes.
Barry? Yes. I'm at Sony, and I didn't realize Barry was there, and the other day I saw one of the elephant doors open, and then it was like all these Barry signs, and I was like, no way! I was like, that is such a coincidence. I had no idea you guys were at Sony. And then I was like, should I go in there and walk around so I could talk to you about it? But I didn't break the law and go onto another stage.
Legally, I can't show you around.
Oh, I know. Well, come on.
A couple of, right before, I don't know if you were on For All Mankind, but at the time, but before the pandemic hit, we were prepping season 3 for the first time. And I had my aunt and uncle in town from San Francisco showing them around. And we snuck into the stages For All Mankind. And obviously I don't know what season it was for that show, but it's just such a big show compared to the stuff I was showing them that was going to be, mostly I was pointing at the parts of the stage, like, oh, we're going to put this over there. We were looking at a spotting plan. There wasn't much to show, but then we walked into For All Mankind. Oh my God, This is so fucking great.
It's so great. I mean,
yeah.
I just came on this season, and when I got the first set tour, I was like, I'm on a spaceship. Like, this is crazy. I'm on a spaceship.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited, but there is, I saw there was like a Dr. Seuss thing on the lot, like a cook show or something. I was like, I want to go, like, look at that. Like, that's one of the best parts about being on the lot, I always think.
It's all very new, still feels new to me, and it's still very exciting, and every day I go onto the lot is exciting to me, and it's because of the history and the current productions that are going on and the future of cinema as well. But I fucking love it, and I'm always taking pictures of just like people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, the light is hitting this sound stage, and it's like so magical, and it was like and most people don't seem to get it, but I do also take a walk all the way around the lot in the early afternoon as just like a break from the computer and the desk. So I take the longest way around possible, and it's about 1.2 miles, give or take.
It's awesome. It's so and that lot, I worked there in the beginning of 2001-ish, 2000, and it's so weird to me that my life is so different, but now I'm back at this place, but that lot has expanded in some way, but it's the same amount of space. Like, it's a weird I always think, like, what was here when I was here? And it was like they just have expanded, even with like in the last like 10 years with a new parking structure and all that, but it's all the same. Like, Wheel of Fortune's not going anywhere. I mean, that rainbow's great, but the history of the lots are always so great, and like you said, like magical. Like when it applies to me. And I just watched the Offer, and they're on that Paramount lot, and if you've ever worked there, you're like, oh my God, that is where Robert Evans' office was, and it's so behind the scenes, but it's our everyday life. It was so awesome to watch.
We did season 2.
Oh,
you might have been there.
I was on V. Yes, you're right.
We were, I think you were one floor above us, maybe.
Yes,
and,
that's right.
So if our food wasn't great, I would go up there and steal food from you guys.
We did have good lunches.
Yeah, I started with these little cupcakes or something. I don't know, but I found my way up there, and then everyone was cool. I forgot the accountant guy's name, but
Oh, that's
then
great.
the head accountant finally one day was like, "Who the fuck are you? What are you
Yeah.
doing here?" And I was like, "I'm with Barry. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Like, everything's
It's
good." And he's like, "No, what?" Like, and then he warmed up. Then he actually became the accountant of Barry for maybe season 3 or season
it's
2.
all HBO money, man. Just give me a
Yeah,
bite. Like
it's such an honor to work for them. I'm so happy about working for HBO. It's just
yeah.
really exciting.
I enjoyed working with HBO and obviously with Veep, but um I was wondering because I've watched the season and season 3, and I wondered if when you started on, and I don't know how many they gave you, or if they gave you a synopsis of the season. It's a lot darker this season. I actually feel like it's a completely different show than what I've been watching.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, does that change your palette? Does that change anything, in design of this?
Well, I was the art director for seasons 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got promoted to design season 3. So from that point, I was definitely trying to kind of match the look that had already been set by the previous designer, but at the same time, I was trying to like bring my own element to the show. But no, overall, it was just kind of playing out, and we didn't exactly realize how dark it was, and it was mostly like with the edit, and like we didn't have all the script, so obviously it just shifted to getting darker and darker as the season went on. Bill just kept telling us it's dark, man. It's really dark, and we were just like, so we just kept doing our thing. A lot of what we do, is like other shows where we're just, not a lot of what we do, but we're dressing normal places to be what they are, like a single mother or certain sets like that, which definitely require a great deal of attention and the same care that any of the sets do. But half of what we're doing is just making things look real or believable, like it's in the real world.
I do love the plant place in the middle of a parking lot. That to me was, I saw that and I was like, oh, that had to be a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. There were so many conversations and so many meetings, and there was so much, not so much director scouting, but the location department was getting strained because it was all kind of being driven by this one high angle shot that we ended up kind of cheating anyway. But it was when Batir is phoning back home to Chechnya from the top of the parking structure. So we needed this space that had a good vantage point. And I don't know how we landed on that, but it was just this huge parking lot. So it was a matter of how big and what all it needed to have. And it was fun because we were just teetering on that level of whether or not this looks like a front or it looks like a legitimate nursery. And so it was a fun balance to, like, if you widened out, you obviously wouldn't see it. Just looks like it's such a ridiculous place. But we had our reasons with the shootout in place and that wide angle shot. And then it was just like, we kept shifting around on the parking lot. Do we want it closer to this entrance or closer to the parking structure? And how big does it need to be?
Did you set it up once for the season, or did you have to go up and back?
Well, we set it up once and we went back a few times. So it was standing for quite a while.
Oh, okay.
We needed to capture some additional photography for some reshoots, so we built a section of it on the Sony lots at the parking pads right by the Overland lot.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God, that's great.
It was so funny. I had to, Andrew Leach, the art director for the series, he wasn't, or for the season, he wasn't on for the reshoots, but I had to send him pics because I had hit him up to see if he was available, and I was like, oh, here's a few things, and it ended up growing significantly, but we owed a couple of shots, which was fun to try to piece that thing back together.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. No.
It was fun for me, but not the people that were trying to source the tents or everything else.
I know I know how half-hour HBO shows are quite demanding. And I, as a viewer, was, in watching the episodes of Barry, and then I rewatched the finale again to talk to you. I was trying to count how many sets, and then I lose count, and then I'm like, oh man, I'll start again. I'll just ask him, but it's so many sets. It's so many sets for these half-hour shows. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have like 35 sets, or at least for that finale.
Oh, I'm not sure about that finale, but it felt like a lot in the first episodes when we were doing the World of Joplin and all these other little shows within the show.
Yeah.
The set count really started adding up for that. But by the time we were at episodes 7 and 8, we were just in the groove, and it was still hard, but it was just like we had this sense that we had done it in a way.
Yeah.
Because we definitely faced a lot of challenges, and it in the last parts got a lot more dramatic, and from a story standpoint it was really great, but our workload maybe got a little bit easier. I don't know, it was so long ago and I have PTSD.
Oh, I know. Do you have like 6 weeks prep in the beginning, maybe, or more?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. And then do you block shoot?
It just depends. In the past, we hadn't, which was a lovely new thing for me that I hadn't experienced. But then with the COVIDness of it all, we started block shooting it.
Yeah.
And which is still the same. I mean, it's easier on one hand, but I don't know.
Yeah, it is and isn't. I mean, set-wise, sometimes you can get things out of the way, and there's less of a chance that you're going to go back to a location and redress, or that's the only advantage I think sometimes comes out of that. But yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Just from a set deck standpoint, as you mentioned something about dressing a set, it was definitely a lot of location work.
Yeah.
I felt like we did so many more builds this past for season 3 as well. So it was just, all of it just seemed elevated, and it was really awesome to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not the biggest show, but for me it was a really big show. Like, especially coming into season 1 as the art director, that was really green to that whole entire world, was kind of overwhelming. But you just keep on going on and keep on, like, filling the holes that are that are spewing water, and you just figure it all out.
I wanted to ask you about Baskets too, because I love that show, but I had heard that it was really hard to do. Like, it was like a lot of locations, and I don't know what the dressing was or such, but like I heard scheduling and locations, like it was like a hard show to do.
Yeah, it really was. I just feel like, the first show that I was really involved with was Portlandia, so that was like even harder than Baskets, because at least Baskets had a little bit more of a structure. I don't want to get too political with saying it was a union issue, but in the infancy of Portlandia, like the first couple seasons of Portlandia was non-union, and it was really hard. Baskets was a step up. So for us, me and this designer I used to work for, Tyler,
I know
it was still just like awesome, because we had all these people, even though we didn't always have the right people. We didn't have a construction department, and we were lacking all these things that what I hope is a normal show has. So it was still a step up. So it's just been this ride upward, and I'm just kind of taking it all as it comes, and moving forward, and it's amazing, what you kind of get used to, as like probably stepping into I don't know, I don't have your resume memorized, but
no. I've never done space before, so yeah.
Stepping into a bigger show, and it's frightening, but you do get used to it, and what seemed like impossible in the earlier seasons seems like walk in the park. I'll design a set, it'll get drawn up, and then it'll be on the stage in a week or so.
I
It's just
know.
like it's so exciting and amazing. But
it's so incredible,
it's
really.
yeah, it's really coming from a world of music videos and low budget commercials and things like that, when it's kind of like all one department and you kind of had to know how to do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great way to go. It's not the fastest way to like progress up to designing, but it's nice to have done all those things.
How did you get into this? Did you do school? Did you just have a passion? Did you?
I'm from Kansas, and I was just kind of bouncing around after I dropped out of college, and I had a friend in Los Angeles who said he could get me work as a PA if I came out. So I flew to LA with a couple of duffel bags.
Nice.
And then, not even a car. And then I hit it off with this director and producer. He had been assisting. So I rolled around with those guys. They were doing commercials and music videos, some kind of big pop music, and with this company called A Band Apart.
Oh yeah, is that Brad Pitt? No, that's Plan B.
No, Lawrence Bender and Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah, okay, close.
I think it's defunct, but anyway, so I just jumped right into this crazy world as their assistant, but to all these fancy parties and meeting all these people and going on location to all these places. But I ended up, just it not working out, where I ended up walking away from that. But I knew an art director that they had been hiring, this guy Lawrence, and he just kind of took me under his wing. I didn't have a clear drive at that point to get into production designing. I just knew at that moment in time I really needed to work, and I knew, or I thought I was like good with my hands and could like do these things that he was going to ask me to do, but I had so much to learn at that point. And but from there I just progressed my way through as a set dresser and a prop master, and was driving 5 tons and
nice.
being a lead man. And then I started getting these small art director jobs, and it just kind of blossomed from there. So then when I got the first call to really be a part of a TV show, which was Portlandia, Tyler just knew I was good with my hands and my mind, and I was great at like on-set dressing. I became really good at that, just paying attention and knowing how everything flowed, and dealing with so many different types of people to help this thing run smoothly. And so he hired me as art director, which I was to an extent, but all of a sudden I was the one running the set because it was such a small crew. And it was so funny and so hard. And
was it hard because of schedule, like their shooting schedule, or I mean, I kind of assumed that show was kind of unscripted in a sense, that they just did what they wanted and made it funny, but the reality of that isn't fun for everyone.
No, and yeah, it takes a certain mentality to drive that ship forward, because it's intense and you're asking a lot for very little amount. And it was really funny, and we didn't know what was really going to become of it. And I still love Fred and Carrie, and so proud to have been a part of it. But it was just really hard. I don't know if it did get easier, so I've heard, in the later years, but those first few seasons were just really brutal. But anyway,
I like that you've done everything.
Yeah. It was funny. Someone had just emailed me this morning asking for some advice on how I did it, and it was the same day we had this interview. So I was like, oh, what the hell? It's Sunday. I'll just write this kid back. He's probably not expecting a response, but it's just been a long journey. And for anyone listening to this that does want to become a production designer, you don't necessarily have to take that long road, because there are quicker ways to do it, but I feel so lucky to have done it and know what most of these people are doing on set and
absolutely.
what it does take, and having a grasp of the time it would take, the amount of people it would take, the logistics, knowing how to build stuff. Not that I'm a master, but I love having conversations with the guys who actually do know how to, to do that for prop makers and construction foremen and everyone else. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and I don't know.
And too, it is, someone said to me recently, like everyone's path was different to get here, which I always tell people too, because I can tell you how I did it, but there's no way you can do what I did, mostly because of, I was so old. Like, it's so long ago, I don't think that shit's not around. But I can fax your resume over. Like, so everyone's story is so different. And I think I think the drive and the passion is really, you have to have it. I feel like you just have to have it if you want to do this. You have to have it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it, early on I wasn't as focused on what it was I was set out to do, but once I got into narrative and started realizing how much of a player I was in helping tell this story, or any story within a story, but that's when it really got exciting, and I didn't just see it as a paycheck. I saw it as something, as an art form.
Yeah.
And it's like every day we're presenting, depending on the day of a shoot, we're presenting between 1 and, I don't know, 5 or 6 interactive art spaces that people who pay for them are walking in, more or less, people are paying for them, are walking in and scrutinizing. They're looking at, they've seen the plans, they've been in all the conversations, but now all of a sudden it's the day.
Yeah. A lot of people, they can't read plans. Like, giving out director's plans is like kind of a joke at this point. No one can read plans. And half the time the director will come in like, I didn't realize it was going to be. And you're like, we gave you plans. We do this to help you. But there are plenty of directors who know how to use them and use it as a tool to help, guide their shots and everything. And it's a sin, really, that I don't know if they're teaching that over there at the Directors Guild or something. It's lacking.
Well, not to name drop, but working with Bill, as long as you're close to him on the scouts, he knows what he wants. He can already see this thing edited and like what it's going to look like when he's done, exactly what he needs and how he's going to get it. So there's a certain beauty to that, and maybe that changes sometimes when they're up and running, but if you'll get a better idea. But for the most part, yeah, our director's plans, I feel like the grip and electric's right on them, on the back of them.
They're writing down their lunch order.
But it is so much work to go out and have your people that you really need on your team going out to survey something, especially if they're not going to be utilized, and those people aren't really going to be on set either. So it's like, it's a little bit. We have to have them, and
no, you have to. I mean, I need them. You have to have them.
Exactly.
I just think it's a bigger joke sometimes of like, we gave this to you, and then you walk up and you're like, I didn't think it was gonna be. And you're just like, what are you talking about?
Well, I feel like that's definitely one of my strengths too, and it happens even more so when I jump into commercial work in between this type of job. But are just the plans changing, because they're going to change. The hardest part for me is delivering that to a set deck who has worked so hard on this direction, and then it's like, no, we're doing this other thing.
Yeah, we're used to it.
I just really have a hard time telling people stuff that I know they don't want to hear, or I feel like, I really care about the people I'm working with and want to keep things positive, and obviously it's not my choice necessarily for plans to change, but still impacts everybody. So, and part of my job, I feel like, is keeping the morale high and keeping people feeling good. And, and if we have a disruption, I don't know, you have to work through it, but
yeah. You have a lot of explosions on Barry. which is fun, but no, I mean, I used to do a lot. I worked on Bones, and something would blow up all the time. And it was kind of fun, but it is also like, ugh, I gotta buy all that dressing, or I gotta you have to build this front that we're gonna blow up. Like, there's a lot going into like that house blowing up. That's like,
yeah, I guess I don't want to get into too many secrets behind exactly how that was accomplished, but for me, I wasn't even there when I was like, I have no place to be there when that kind of shit is going down for the most part, because my job is done, and was just another person around wouldn't be helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of explosions and a lot of gunfire and a lot of blood.
A lot of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually thought, oh, this is it. It's over. I didn't realize it was coming back. I mean, I never heard that it was done, but the ending of the 3rd season is pretty, like, everything kind of little bit wraps up for like a lot of characters.
Yeah, true.
It's really good. I mean, I was like, kind of, after the 1st or 2nd episode, I was like, this isn't what I signed up for. I'm still laughing at like the NoHo guy, but like, it really did turn for me, and I like it, but I was like, this is not what I signed up for. And then just watching it as a whole, I think it's a really good show. But those first couple episodes, I was like, what's going on? Is this like a different Barry? Like, I don't know.
It was quite a different Barry, and I think, the gap between season 2 and season 3 was so great that maybe I'm sure Bill and the other writers didn't forget, but a lot of us kind of forgot who Barry was or where he was going. But yeah, he definitely changed a lot. And just looking back at the previous seasons, I do feel like this season in particular is so much better than the first 2, but I don't know if that's because I designed it or not.
Yeah. Hey, you could say that. I do. I think it's a really good show. It's just completely different from the beginning, but I still like it. It's still like a really great show, and it's written really well. And I love Bill Hader in it. I mean, I think he's fantastic in it. So you try to do commercials when you're not working? Do you do commercials in Portland or here?
Both.
Nice.
So what have I done this year? I did a Gatorade spot in Portland, and then the same group asked me to come do another leg of it in LA. And then what else have I done this year? I just did a Nike thing.
Ooh.
Right. That was pretty fun. And then this other kind of corporate ad, but yeah, I try to do, 4, 5, 6 commercials in between when I'm working on a show for 6 to 8 months or whatever Barry ends up being.
That's a lot of commercials.
Yeah, it's a little intense, but
it's not like it's they're not really time consuming. I mean, the designer does come on and have to sell the design that he wants for this project and this commercial a lot of times, but you don't, it's not that long. Like, if you were on a commercial for a month, I'd be shocked.
Oh yeah. No, I think the longest one was probably, I did a few that were like 12 days or so.
Yeah, it's so
maybe
quick.
No, there was a car commercial that was more than that, I think, but
they're so quick.
Usually they're short and sweet, but it's sometimes just drawn out on the front end. You're talking about it and you're looking stuff up and you're picking calls, and then I enjoy doing them, and it's a great opportunity to meet new directors and DPs and stuff too that do narrative or whatever it is that you're into. So I like them for that. But yeah, they're hard, and it's just I can get into them and I can play that position, but it's not. Most of the time, it's just gonna. It's not about as. It's not so much love as it is with narrative.
Yeah. I could care less if I ever did another. I hate it. I hate doing commercials. I don't even know my place really because I feel like a buyer. Like I don't know. And I'm just nervous at all times that someone's going to ask me for something like now. Not that changes from our world, but it seems so much more intense when you're on a commercial. So.
No, well, there's an army of people too between the agency and the client and everyone involved in the production company. It's like there's a lot of people that are making this decision that's going to affect the next hour or days of your life, depending on what they decide.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's kind of less room for that bullshit in TV because I don't know. Well, we wouldn't be talking about the color of this one hero thing for quite as long as you were in the commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like one of my first commercials, and I did I showed everything that I was going to get to the designer, and then like it was a bunk bed, and I didn't get it, or the prop house like retight or some shit, and so I got one. It was almost like exactly the same, and I showed up and we dressed everything, and he's a great guy, and he was like, "Where is the bed?" And I go, they put the upstairs. He goes, "That's not the bed you showed me," and I go, "Oh yeah, no," and he goes, "No, you don't get it." Like the kids jumping off of this bed, it was a whole discussion. They liked that, and I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't get that bed." Like it was, he had to go like fix it and stroke some people or something. I don't know, but I was like, "Oh, okay, lesson learned." One little thing. It was like minuscule difference, but I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, that's definitely a big difference in narrative versus commercials because you would obviously just let the bed slide. We got to shoot the scene. Whereas this is like there's so many conversations that have been had about that one bed.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Oh man.
Are you watching anything good? You watching anything inspiring?
No, there's cable TV at this place I'm staying, so I find myself trying just to zone out and flipping through. Like it feels very old school. An old school way to watch TV, like what's on TV.
Right.
So I'm experimenting with that, and I don't spend a lot of time watching TV. I'm on the monitor all day for the most part, and I am trying to exercise and take a walk and like do things like that when I'm away from work, but yeah, so I'm not really watching anything. There's a list of, I don't even know what's on it at this point, but I know I need to catch up on some shows. Severance I want to give a try.
So good.
And I don't know what else is on the list, but
do The Offer. The Offer was really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that.
That's like the period of it, and like I said, like just the like working behind the scenes. It made, not only did it make me want to watch The Godfather, but it was like it was like a flame, like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like look, like we could be working on the next Godfather. Like there's that feeling of like we're making something that is impressionable to generations ahead. I always think that that's kind of like the one is like your work being referred to later, like looking back. I just find that to be a goal.
that was something that kind of led me to get into more narrative, is that I wanted to, and I was having kids. I had twin girls.
Oh, I have twin boys.
Oh wow, mine are 12.
Mine are 3.
Wow, I don't know how you're doing this. It's really intense for all of you who don't know.
Okay.
But wanting to leave something behind, and it was Portlandia and baskets and outberries, so it's an interesting mix. But at least just leave something behind as, I don't want to call it a legacy at this point by any means, but a
But
body of work.
Yeah.
Like you could look up what your great grandfather, who would be me or whatever, did back in the 2000s or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it is, and it's visual and it's accessible now. Like, all of our shows are pretty much accessible at any time, which is so great. Yeah. That always freaks me out too. Is like, you couldn't just watch anything you wanted before, and now, as long as you're subscribed to the right app, you can watch whatever you want, and not just flip the TV. But yeah, what else? You got anything else?
Don't know.
I always feel like when I do interviews at night that I'm always like, oh, I'm taking up like nighttime downtime. But I'm bummed that Andrew didn't jump on here and like do a surprise guest or something. But I love working with Andrew. He's one of the few art directors I actually like. Now designer, but
he hiring Andrew Leach when I booked season 3 was like a ray of sunshine when I interviewed quite a few people, and he stood out because he brought his booklet of like things he did for the show, and it was all, looking at it as a former art director, like all the shit that I wish I had time to do, and all these lists and breakdowns, like I don't know how this person did this, but this is what we need to run the show.
Yeah.
And but I would do maybe similar versions, but that's another thing. I never really came up through, and I don't know if he did exactly. I know he did go to art school, but I never came up through anyone that was trained to do what we're doing. So I didn't know a lot of things that are just kind of a given. Mm-hmm. So to have Andrew on board, who I knew had worked with our producer Julie Camino on Ballers. Mm. I knew she loved him, and that was important to me. That she was like, I already had those two getting along, and Andrew also brought in our construction coordinator Matt Haynes.
Oh, you have Matt
for season 3. Yeah,
Matt is the best. I love Matt.
So yeah, there was this epic team, and I feel like we have a great team this year as well. But it was Andrew was super great, and he was great with set deck as well, and communicating with Rachel for our things we had talked about, or things he knew that she didn't know, or it was just a great team.
You have an art director. You have 2 assistant art directors, or 1?
This year we're only gonna have 1.
1, and then coordinator PA. So you've got a good support system. I'm assuming that's what. Yeah.
And then we have a full-time set designer on too, which we haven't had in the past. And who's been great at helping out with visual references, and he got me. Our assistant art director Curtis Moore had talked about this thing called Twin Motion for as a platform to render SketchUp models. But he just got this set designer, Andre, just got me using this program last week, and it's just kind of been mind blowing and
cool.
Yeah, super, close to photorealistic, and just a new way that I'll be presenting these models when I go into the meetings to pitch a set. Mm. That's my normal process, is that I'll model something up, usually have a discussion with Aida Rogers, our executive producer, about the needs of the set and time frame, and then ultimately the cost. And then if that all fits within the box, then we'll show it to Bill, and we'll see if it gives him and the DP what they need as far as the space. And then like I said, in a week or so later, it will be standing on the set or on the stage. And it's like, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot to pick out colors for that set because they just have placeholders in the model. But anyway, I have another week to decide. Yeah.
Your decorator's hoping it's less than a week, but go ahead. Yeah. And your painter.
Yeah. No, I do my best to not put those answers off. I do my best just to like give them the information, just kind of let it out without thinking for too long. And God forbid I have to have them change the color, but
happens.
I don't like making people wait, and I don't know that my decision making is going to get any better if I think about this thing for too much longer. You know, I might get a new idea if I have a little bit more time, but as far as the decisions that maybe have already been made in my mind, I'm just having a little trouble getting them out as far as the look or tone of a room. But
well, to me too, the designer is just thinking and talking like all day long. Like you're in a meeting, you're scouting, you're talking to props, you're talking to set dressing, you're talking to your art director, and it's hard sometimes just to sit down for a second and think about like, all right, let me think about this color. It's a shift of your mind a lot of times to like break from everything and just think about color. I don't think we talk about it enough, but it's so important. Color, obviously. And the process of picking it is really a thing. Like, what about their skin tones? Well, what's wardrobe wearing? Does it dominate the scene? And should we not clash with that? And it's a whole big process picking out those colors.
Yeah. The first go around, when I was, got the first call up to do Barry season 3, I had been purposely using some really bold khaki colors that I thought this character would want in their space. And then during the like halfway through the pandemic, I was like, oh, what the fuck have I done? I want to like sneak in there and repaint this wall, like this accent wall, like tonight. And then I was like, okay, I just got to chill out and make this thing not like stand out as much. And then so I tell Andrew, oh, can we get that off the wall like right away? He was already joking with me about it and stuff, but and then we just didn't have enough time. Later the same day we were walking through with Bill and he's like, oh yeah, is there any way you could change that color? I was like, no, I was already going to do it, but
yeah,
sometimes you try to make that bold choice for whatever reason, whether it's usually it's something you feel like the character might do, but it doesn't always work out. But just keeping an open mind on, I don't know, other things like, oh yeah, so the character might do it, but if it doesn't work with the costumes and what the gaffer's doing and all the other people are involved are doing, then it just doesn't work. It's one thing for you to have that in your mind, but yeah, it's definitely a team sport, and when we all come together, we can make magic or
muddy
or really
or mud.
Yeah, I was a really ugly wall choices then.
You have worked with the decorator, it seems, for a little bit. Rachel Ferreira, is that her name?
Ferrara is her last name.
She was on Baskets also, right?
She was. She was unable to join us for season 4, so there's a new decorator on board.
Nice, exciting.
Jennifer Herrig.
Oh yes, very nice.
It's my first time working with her, but so yeah, it's one of those things when a show finishes one season and then there's a pause while they write the second season, and unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it's like
you never know.
One door closes, another opens. But I love those people so much from season 3, and I feel great about who's on for season 4. I feel like we're starting off in easing into this thing in a way that we're getting that time to develop how we're, our workflow, how we're going to do these things, and kind of like morale boosting, team boosting, and rather than just being in the fire immediately and just trying to, tread water for this.
Yeah.
Tread water and fire, or not?
It feels like that.
It's a nice little calm, but I keep reminding everyone that just so you guys know, it's gonna start to really get crazy here in like any fucking minute.
When do you start shooting?
August 2nd.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We start shooting end of August, 22nd or something, and I'm feel so far behind. I still have 8-9 weeks left. It's like I still feel the pressure right now. Like, oh.
Yeah, I'm excited for this week. I think a lot will be answered this week, and we'll get some big marching orders, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm gonna steal you one day because I owe you a drink or a coffee or something for. You know what's funny? I think I passed him last week on the lot, like walking, but I did a double take and I was like, I think that's him, but I didn't want to call out his name because there was like other people around. That would have been weird, but I'll grab him. I'm gonna grab him and go for that, like the airport pricing coffee bean that's on the Sony lot. I don't know, that coffee is like way more expensive. I feel like I don't know. But so nice to hear how he has just taken on this huge show and how much he enjoys the process that he's in, and seems very grateful to his crew and everyone around him. So good luck on season 4. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm totally gonna make him show me his sets. I don't know what that bullshit was. What the hell? We're all in it. We all sign NDA. I mean, I'm not gonna tell anybody anything, right? I'm not gonna tell you. Upcoming episodes, I hopefully will have some Emmy nominees. I'm working on that for you. But upcoming, I have composer Pat Irwin, who you might know from the bands that he created in the late 70s and early 80s, and then was a part of the B-52s, and then composed for animated shows like Rocko's Modern Life, Class of 3000, SpongeBob SquarePants, and he recently did the score for Dexter, this New Blood, that I watched in the last week, and and then paid so much attention to this music that I love. I mean, I just love music in general, and I'm so honored that that I got to speak with Pat, that I was so focused on the music and how it influenced the scenes. It was really, really incredible. So I hope if anyone has watched Dexter New Blood, they picked up on his wonderful score. So I have that interview for you coming up. Hey, since it's summertime, you got some extra time laying around, maybe just click on over and write a little review of this podcast if you're enjoying it. Whatever platform you're listening on, that will do. Just click, 5 stars. Awesome. Kim's awesome. There you go. Done. And then you can get on with your summer. You can also check out the Decorating Pages podcast website to sign up for any newsletters and the blog that is now monthly. I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages. Floating in style is essential in 2022. Get your Stogie Floaty luxury bowl float now on stogieFloaty.com with free shipping with promo code FLOATFREE. Also available on Etsy.com.
Welcome to Pro Tips for the Pros, brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads. In this series, we'll explore essential advice for professional contractors to deliver outstanding renovation results. Let's dive in. Before starting any renovation project, take the time to plan meticulously. Assess the customer's needs, budget, and timeline to ensure a smooth and successful renovation process. Thank you for joining us for this pro tip on planning thorough renovations. Stay tuned for more expert advice brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads.
A lot of people tolerate ordinary. Ordinary bathrooms, kitchens, entryways. Well, not on your watch. If you're a pro, you've got a new partner in town. Floor & Decor. From tile to wood to stone, Floor & Decor has more styles and job lot quantities of Schluter, Mapei, Laticrete, and other brands pros trust. Come see a whole new way to wow with Floor & Decor. Coming soon to Bailey's Crossroads.